what would kind of be your definition? How would you define like what is PCOS like to you?
So it's a hormonal imbalance. And I think from what I've read, and obviously I'm not a doctor, so I don't know completely. I'm not claiming to know completely either. But I think a lot of it is to do with insulin resistance. So your hormones being off or your insulin being off, those two interact, and it makes it basically so that you're more susceptible to grow cysts in your ovaries. And it messes with your menstrual cycle a lot. So when I was at uni, there were like months where I wouldn't have a period, and then I would be on my period for months at a time, and like you have to take medicine to stop either one because they're not that, it's not good for you.
So when did you actually find out? Because I know a lot of women have PCOS and they don't even know it. So when did you find out? Like, how old were you?
So I was tracking my periods, and I realised that I hadn't had one for a while. So I went to my doctor to talk about like having irregular periods, and she did a blood test, and it was the result of the blood test that showed that I had some of the symptoms of PCOS, so the hormonal imbalance, and then you go and do an ultrasound, and that also showed that I had some cysts. So that's how I got diagnosed, and that was in my second semester of my first year of uni.
Okay, so what was your first thought when you found out? Did you know what it was? Were you thinking like,
no,
like how did you react? Like, did you just brush it off? Like, what was your first initial thought?
So at the beginning, I was like, oh, right, all it means is that I'm not going to know when I'm coming on my period. That's fine, I don't really care. And then, so that was my initial reaction, kind of brush it off. And then as I went through uni, and obviously you have stresses at uni, like with coursework, like, you know, relationships, friendships, whatever. And the stress takes a toll on your body as well and really impacts PCOS a lot. So I would say I really started to notice it and get down about it in my like third and fourth year. I think also my fourth year, I was doing my masters, and like some of my friends had left uni, so that was like probably an added stress. I was living by myself in a studio flat. Obviously I had made friends as well, but like living by yourself is a new and different thing. So I'd say that's when I really noticed it. And then maybe subconsciously off the back of that, when I came back home, maybe that's why I started to take gym and PCOS a bit more seriously.
So what are the impacts that PCOS have on you, and how have you managed to navigate that?
So PCOS, what I've noticed for me is it makes it a lot, and for a lot of other people as well, I think Deborah mentioned this as well in her podcast episode, it makes it easier to put on weight and harder to lose weight. And that was like body image wise, that's really something that's difficult for me. And like I said, I'd gone from feeling and looking the best during sixth form and being the most confident to then going to uni and having that like really deplete. And I was like, yeah, that was tough. So I'd say body image is one of the things, and also mentally, I don't think I realised to the full extent how much it affected me mentally, like mood swings, feeling down. They were pretty difficult, but yeah, I think when you go back to the gym, you get back into a routine. Like moving home, perhaps actually it was like the stresses of uni had gone. When I moved back home, my periods became regular again. Not like on a, whatever it is, 28 to 33 day cycle, but my cycle length was consistent. It was consistent. I wouldn't say regular, it was consistent. And that was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize how much stress actually affected me. And it was like the stress on my body, even though you don't think it's happening, like your body can be under stress.
So even like down to diet as well. How important is that with PCOS? 'Cause I know that plays a massive impact as well. You can talk a bit more about that as well.
Yeah, so with PCOS, you're supposed to prioritize eating foods that are low on the glycemic index. I think diet is something that I'm still working on, and like I wouldn't say that I meal prep or like really plan out my meals. I mean, I live at home at the moment, so my lovely mum, whatever she's made is what I'll eat. But I think that's one of my next goals, is to really take more ownership over my diet and like think about what I'm eating. I think I don't really know. It's quite confusing because I do try and research it, but what I find is that there's a lot of conflicting advice.
Mm-hmm.
So like some people will say you should do intermittent fasting if you have PCOS, and some people will say that's the worst thing in the world. So it's like trying to navigate all of that information is a lot, and I think that's also why it's taking me a while to really find out what I want to do and how I want to go about it.
Yeah, definitely. Because I'll put some of your results on the screen just now. So you done like, well, this year I think we started training together in like February.
Yeah, I
this
think
year,
it was really at the start of the year. Yeah, February.
2024. So just kind of getting into that routine, and I remember kind of at the start for the first couple months, it was just more so about gaining that confidence again, getting in the gym, and then I remember you messaged me saying, you know, now you've got gained the confidence, you want to now start really like going hard with the goals and stuff like that as well. We'll go back to the PCOS, but what kind of, when you say with confidence, what kind of things were affecting your confidence and going inside the gym? Was it the people in the gym? Was it just not knowing where to go? Like, what was it exactly about the confidence, or was it overthinking? Like, what was that?
I think it was a mixture of all of those things.
Okay.
So I think it's very intimidating to go into a gym, especially when it's a male-dominant gym and you're like the only girl in there, and you're not the girl that has like the Gymshark body. You're the girl that's like trying to achieve that and working towards that. I find that was quite hard. And like, although it might not be true, when you're stepping into the gym for the first time or going back after a long break, it's like, oh, how do I use this machine again? What weight am I on this machine? Building that routine back up is quite daunting and intimidating, and you think that everyone's like looking at you and thinking, wow, she's so silly, her form is terrible. So I'd say it was a lot of overthinking, and I am more confident, but like I still say to you, there are times where we're training together and we've got a session booked maybe on a Monday in the evening, and I'm like, if you weren't here and we didn't have this session, I might turn around and walk back out because it's just a lot. And like, it's busy, and you don't want to ask someone like, can I use this machine? And it's like, then you've got to off the cuff think of something else to do instead. And yeah.
I guess the main thing I tell people with that, because I have a few clients that kind of literally what you said, like they will say the same thing, and they're all women as well. So I know that it's a big barrier, and I always tell people like, don't try and work out overnight, because it's gonna take time. Like to get confidence, able to confidently train by yourself in a full gym. So it's just about doing bits and bobs. So like, let's say for example, I recommend people what to do. Like in the weight room, if you go in one day, just do one exercise, a few sets, and then leave, and then come back and then gradually build it up, rather than thinking you've got to do this, that. It's better to kind of build it up. So there's some advice for people like that actually are training by themselves and trying to work it out. There's something that you mentioned as well, which is really important. So you said like the Gymshark body, and I feel like nowadays, again, we're pretty much the same age, like growing up, we've kind of the generation that we grew up on social media. So I feel like there's a lot on social media that's like, again, conflicting information like you said, but there's also that comparing yourself to others. And naturally, as humans, we do it, because there's even like, for myself, I'll compare myself with like other people as well. That's how you just think, because everything's in your face. So would you say social media has positive, negative impact on you? Has it affected your confidence at any point? Like,
I would say social media didn't really impact me much until maybe I was in uni and like going through the PCOS and like not going to the gym, that sort of stage. I wouldn't say I'm overly harsh on myself, but like sometimes you look at a video and you're like, oh my God, wow, like I don't look like that. Could I look like that? Will I ever look like that? Type of thing. Like I try to train as hard as I can whilst trying to maintain like a social life.
You need to know the balance.
Yeah, it is about balance, but yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's answered my question. Cause like I said, naturally, like as humans, like we'll compare ourselves to other people. So sometimes it's kind of, we should look at people for inspiration, but not kind of have that self-doubt. But then sometimes it's easier said than kind of done, because sometimes actually you just have those like kind of instincts. So let's go kind of back to PCOS. What advice would you give like a woman out there that's just found out they've got PCOS? Like, what's the first thing you'd recommend to kind of do?
I would say make sure that you're exercising and either maintaining your weight or losing weight if that's what you want to do. But that will help. Well, in my experience, it helped me to maintain regular, consistent periods. So I would say go to the gym. Also, I think food is really important, and it is difficult, but like maybe speak to your doctor or nutritionist or something. Like, I mean, this is advice I should be taking myself, so don't worry. It is daunting at first, but also prioritize your mental health.